So let's talk about the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers are a team which recently have been extremely under fire because they just don't want to trade Damian Lillard. And let's get into it. I mean, first things first, I've talked about this Dame situation extensively. I've probably now like three videos where I just mention him and where I say the situation, where I break it down. So I won't really be explaining the situation as I could link some. I'll probably put them at the end of these videos about the trade, because yeah, I'll put them at the end of the video because I don't want to get into this situation any longer. I've already explained it, and if you want to know my opinion, go there. I just want to talk about them as a team. And as a team, they're doing pretty bad. The Blazers are in what you call purgatory. They're a team which have recently lost a lot of games, but also won a lot of them. And so they can't be good enough to be in the playoffs, but they're also not bad enough to be a lottery team. Well, not a lottery team, a top three team. They were one of the teams which last year decided to blow up their entire franchise essentially, resting all their good players and saying we're just going to ride out the rest of the season, losing a lot of games. And this was done mostly for two reasons. It was done for the uh, reason so that Damian Lillard stays, right? They wanted to make sure that they would have something to intrigue him, so they used the draft to get a valuable asset. And then this was also done for the developmental reasons of Anthony Simons, because they've put a lot of stock in Anthony Simons being a great player, being a franchise moving piece, and they gave him a lot of money. And last year he had the best year of his career, averaging 21 points on 45% from the field, 38% from three, almost 90% from the free throw line. Uh, and they've really done a good job, right, at really maximizing his potential as a guard, as a scoring guard who plays off of a, elite point guard. So, in my opinion, Anthony Simons has become a great player. They are really maximizing him. He's on a pretty cheap deal considering how much people get paid these days. And in my opinion, Anthony Simons is one of those players which just consistently they look to improve. Now, is he going to be a star? No, but you could always look to get better. Then, with Anthony Simons being this way, they also have other players which they've liked to play and maybe test, like Shaden Sharp. They have now Kevin Knox. They have people like Jabari Walker and Keon Johnson, which they're going to look to get some playtime out of, even if it's not a lot. And in my opinion, you could always look at the Blazers and you could tell that they are going to try to play these players, even if it doesn't work really well. But with all this being said, and with all this being looked at, the real biggest problem for the Portland Trailblazers is that they don't have a championship lineup, and they have a horrible structure right now to get out of that. They have three players which make about which make $24 million or more. That's Damian Lillard, which makes around 46 million, Jeremy Grant, which makes around 28 million, and Anthony Simons, which makes around 24 million. And this is due, and these three players really take up most of their cap. Apart from that, you have guys like Yusuf Nurkic, Matisse Thybulle, second overall pick Scoot Henderson, which also have contracts which are pretty expensive. And in my opinion, the problem with all of these players and all of these contracts is that this is not a championship team. You're not winning a championship with this lineup. You have one superstar, you have a co-star, and then you just have a bunch of players which can play basketball at a professional level, right? You have a bunch of professionals, but you don't have standout pieces. Like, I'm sorry, but Anthony Simons is not the guard to put next to Dame. You know what would be the guard? A guy like Jaylen Brown, a guy like Klay Thompson, someone who doesn't need the ball all the time and who doesn't need to dribble just to get his own shot. Second, a guy like Yusuf Nurkic, not dominant enough, not good enough on defense. Like, you need a better shot blocker in the paint if you want to maximize Damian Lillard's potential as a superstar talent. Jeremy Grant, perfect. He can space the floor, play defense, make his own shot, average 20 points per game, and he can do basically everything that you want him to do on a court, be effective, and not get too much in the offense. You know, not be intrusive with the offensive sets that he gets. In my opinion, Jeremy Grant is perfect pairing in Portland. Then I got like Matisse Thybulle, another perfect pairing, but they are not gonna play him that much because he cannot score. So that's a big thing. Scoot Henderson, too young. Shaden Sharp, too young. And none of them fit with Damian Lillard's play style. And in my opinion, what really stands out of the Blazers is the fact that they just don't have any, reason to have this lineup the way that they do. Like, the whole point of the lineup which they have right now was to maximize Damian Lillard. And they don't have anything here which maximizes him except for Jeremy Grant. And in my opinion, that's where the Blazers messed up. When you have a superstar like Damian Lillard, which needs the attention, he needs the ball, he needs the touches, he needs the attention around him, and you make a lineup which contrasts him in the worst way possible, it leads to some questions. Like, if you have Damian Lillard, right, why would you have another scoring guard who doesn't play defense next to him? But that's one of the problems, and when you look deeper into it, it's that they don't have enough assets to make big trades, and no one wants to go to Portland. And these things make it so that when you look at the Blazers, you're like, Dame requested a trade. Is it really his fault? Or are we just looking at a franchise that didn't build around him correctly when he gave them an opportunity? I have no idea, honestly. I always look at these things and I'm like, well, should the superstar have stayed? Do they actually have a plan? Because honestly, if you ask me, it looks like the Blazers don't know what they're doing, right? It looks like they've had something planned. It looks like they had an idea which was probably too good to be true, which was, we're going to develop guys as Dame gets older, and then that way we're going to be able to win, and Dame is going to win one. But in the NBA, that doesn't really work. We've seen people try that where it's like, we're going to develop stars through a superstar. And we saw the Cleveland Cavaliers who wanted to do it with LeBron when he came back. Where it was like, where they were going to keep Andrew Wiggins. And then as soon as LeBron came into the team, it was like, we know that we have to get win now pieces. So it doesn't really make sense to me, especially since Portland got the second overall pick. The second, right? They, by some faith of God, they managed to get the second overall pick. And now they're stuck with the second best prospect, which is worth a bunch of assets. But they don't want to use those to get a star for Dame. But I digress. In my opinion, when you really look at this team, I've looked at them, and the more that I think about it, I think that they just should do whatever. I think that they should trade Dame and then rebuild their whole roster. You have this young backcourt of Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp, which they look really good. You have enough vets on your team to coach the young guys and make them be able to play and show them the ropes. And in my opinion, when you look at all these things that these players are doing, right, and all of the things that the Blazers are doing, maybe it's just better to reset. Say, you know what, it's true. Maybe we couldn't get the most out of Dame, but for our next superstar, which is in our team, we will, right? I would say that trade Dame, trade Anthony, and trade Yusuf Nurkic to keep Jeremy Grant, keep a few of the young guys, keep some developmental pieces and some good vets, and then rerun it back and play through the draft for a few years. That would be my thing for the Portland Trail Blazers.